So in the previous sessions we have seen core of the embedded systems. Okay, that means microprocessor, microcontroller, digital signal processors. Okay, those are the some examples, some concepts. Okay, then we have seen also application specific interface circuits, then programmable logic devices, and also we have seen commercial off the shelf components in the first point. Whereas in the memory, we have seen two main categories, what you mean by ROM and the definition of RAM. Okay, we also seen the subcategories of ROM as masked ROM, PROM, EPROM, double EPROM, okay, then NVRAM, okay, these all, and also the flash. So whereas coming for the RAM, we have seen two type of RAMs, SRAM and DRAM. Also we have finished the differences between SRAM and DRAM. Okay, so today we will go with the third concept of this chapter 2 in the module 1, that's the sensors and actuators. Okay, so now coming for the definition, hope you all know about a sensor, because in this pandemic situation we used to say the word thermal sensor, okay, which is used to measure the body temperature of a person or any object. Okay, so what is the word sensor means? Which collects input or which senses the data. Okay, then data or some object. Okay, we can predict, we can even say if you check Google weather report, so it will tell us that 50% of possibility of rain or 60% of cloud environment, like that. So it will also senses the data and gives us some report. So the meaning of sensor is what? Okay, who will collect the data, and give us some valuable information. And what is importance of sensor is we cannot measure without that sensor. Okay, so if you don't have that sensor, the meaning is if you don't have that sensor, we used to follow long procedure. Say for example, what is how to measure the body temperature of a human. I hope you all have aware about this. During the old days, when we any person visits a hospital, so there was a thermometer. Through that used to measure the temperature. Okay, but now what happens, easy part is simply there will be a gun, and through that gun we will get the temperature read successfully. Okay, so that is what idea of the sensor. Okay, so now the definition of actuator. Actuator means it happens after the sensor. Okay, that means what happens if we put a if we expose our hand to the this one sanitizer spray, automatic sanitizer spray. What happens is once it reads our temperature, or once it senses we have kept a hand just below the sprayer of that sanitizer, immediately it will start one electromechanical work of spraying the sanitizer. Okay, so actuator means what? Who responds to the sensor. So always you see sensor is a first, who will senses the data. Actuator is the next, who gives a proper response to the sensed input. Okay, so that's what the meaning of sensor and actuator circuit. Okay, so you can see the definition of a sensor. It's a transducer device which is used to convert one energy form into another. You can see like what happens whenever we expose a human body to the thermal sensor, the heat energy is converted into display. Okay, so it is converted into some display type, that means current signal or digital signal format. Through that we can read what is the temperature of present temperature of that person. Okay, so what are some examples? Temperature sensor, magnetic Hall effect sensor, humidity sensor, moisture sensor, okay, etc. These all are the sensors. Okay, what do you mean by actuator? Actuators means, as I mentioned, it is a mechanical or electrical component who will respond for the sensor data, and it is also through some signal. Okay, and generally what happens is actuator will be performing some physical action. They are not like only giving the value, but there happens real some physical action like spray of a sanitizer, or spray of some fertilizer to the farmland wherever there is a disease on the plant is identified, etc. Okay, these all are called as actuators. Okay, so two definitions about the sensors and actuators. Also we have how sensors and actuators are connected with the main processors through input output subsystem. Please remember, it is not input output system. If we say input output system, we will have keyboard, monitor, mouse, etc. If we have keyboard input output subsystem, we have something which interfaces, which performs interaction between sensor actuators with processor, sensor actuators with microcontroller, sensors and actuators with digital signal processors, etc. So that means what? These are not a standard input output devices like a keyboard, monitor, etc. Instead, these are something different from the standard input or output devices. That's why these are called as input output subsystems. Now question is, can we connect a sensor directly to the processor? Yes, it is possible. Sometimes, most of the time, the sensor or actuator connected with the processor using special or specific input output subsystem. So how they are connected, we are going to see in this particular chapter of the discussion. Okay, you can see now every embedded system will have its own input output subsystem, and purpose is to make interaction between the embedded system and the user. Embedded system and the user. Every time embedded system will not only communicates with the user, sometimes embedded system communicates with the external world. Let me take one example. Assume that we have one weather forecast prediction component or computer. Okay, so what it will do is, it will I will come and I will type something like what is a weather report of tomorrow. So it will give me the result. That means that embedded system is communicating with me. So interaction happened between that embedded system and myself. Okay, to calculate that possibility of rain tomorrow, should it communicate with the air, temperature, humidity? Yes, okay. If that is the case, embedded system interacts with external world. Okay, then it will generate the result, and same embedded system will give me the result. Hence, embedded system will communicate or interacts with two type of things. One thing is external world, another object is user. Okay, so for making a perfect interaction between embedded system and user or external world, we need input output subsystem. Okay, as I mentioned, through input output subsystem we can connect sensors and actuators of the embedded system. Okay, so generally sensors are called as input, actuators are called as outputs. Okay, so and they are sometimes there is no need, there is no compulsion that we should not connect sensors and actuators directly. Okay, we can also connect them indirectly through what? Input ports or the output ports. So what we call for input, what we connect for input ports is sensor. Sensor is connected with the input ports, actuator is connected with the output ports. Okay, so that is called as indirect interface. Okay, so let's go for one by one. Sensor. Okay, so what is a LED? I hope we all know the definition, or a full form: light emitting diode. Okay, so this is a diagram of light emitting diode, in which we have, okay, so long leg and short pin. I repeat, long pin and short pin. So please remember here, short pin means negative, that's a cathode. Long pin means positive, that's a anode. So here you can see anode is always connected to resistor and cathode is connected to the ground to remove excess current. Okay, so this is one point which we should remember. Okay, so even in your examination also, don't write both anode and cathode of same length pins. Okay, so they should be of different length. So positive is anode okay, and the negative is the cathode, right? So first few points about this is whether this LED is output or input. LED is a output device. For what purpose it is using? For visual indication. See, hope we all remember our analog digital board IC trainer kit. There we used to see some lights on the top, either input side or output side. So if the bulb is glowing, we used to say high voltage. If the bulb is not glowing, we used to say as low voltage. So that's a output measurement. Even it is used for input also, but most of the time it is the function is to show the output. And why it is called visual is means user will feel through eyes. He can observe it through eyes. Okay, is there any other type of observation of the output? As I mentioned in our lab, there is something called sound or beep. Okay, if we got output, there will be a beep sound. If there is no output, no beep sound. Like that, it's another option. But here one method is visualization. So that is done through LED. Okay, so what are the definitions we can give for light? Light functions is device is on, so bulb will be glowing generally. Battery is low, then I think we can see in our nowadays mobile, wherever there is a receiver, through which we can hear a sound, small LED will be there. If it shows a red color, what we have to identify is battery is lesser. So if battery is sufficient, it will not glow. Okay, so sometimes some of the LED will glow during charging point. Okay, so we can give different definitions for the glow of the LED. Okay, so now coming for this, how it is made up of? It's made up of PN junction diode. Okay, hope you all know the operation of PN junction diode, which consists of anode and cathode. Okay, so what is some other purposes of using LED is, you can see here. Okay, some other characteristic is we can have identification or identifying whether the current is flowing through the circuit or not. Okay, and also that flowing should be limited. What happens if we send here, I hope you can see here, VCC is up to 5 voltage. Through this resistor it will travel and it will reach a bulb, and bulb will start glowing. Extra current or excess current will be moved away from the ground. Okay, we cannot keep this for 300 or 500 voltage. Suddenly what happens? This cannot transmit that much voltage. This will become burst or blown out. Okay, so that means what? We cannot supply any quantity of voltage through the LED. It is very limited. So who is controlling how much how much voltage should go through with this LED is this resistor. Okay, we cannot directly have VCC connecting with the LED. We should have always one serial connected resistor which will try to reduce the current entering into the LED. Okay, so these are the some concepts with respect to LED as a first sensor. Okay, second point about sensor is sensor and actuator. We are studying together. It is not like only sensor and only actuator. Okay, so second concept of sensors and actuators is a 7-segment LED display. 7-segment display we call. Okay, why it is called a 7-segment display? You can see here 1A, B2, C3, D4, E5, F6 and G as 7th. Okay, there is one more special LED called DP that indicates decimal point. Okay, so now what is the purpose of showing this LED 7-segment is here we can define only two values in the normal LED, high or low. But if you wanted to show special outputs like alphabets or numbers, we cannot show through normal LED. For that we have an arrangement which is called a 7-segment display. Internally it is made up of again LED only, but arrangement of LED in this format will give us special device called as 7-segment display. So I hope we all know this 7-segment display in our previous ADE lab. Please recall it once. Okay, so one LED is used for representing one bit. Okay, one of the bit. So special LED we are using for to represent decimal point also. So hope you can see the numbering of LEDs. A on the top, B clockwise I am telling, C, D, E, F and G. Okay, so there are two modes of glowing the LED in this 7 segment display. One is common anode and one is common cathode. You can see here A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then decimal point. If all are connected, all LEDs anode is connected to VCC, it is called as anode is connected to VCC, it is called as common anode LED display. If their all cathode is connected with each other, then it is called as common cathode LED display. Okay, so how it works, hope you have seen once in your AD lab. Also we have one more time in our this ARM lab part B program. So again how it works, you can you will come to know there. Okay, the two architectures are common anode and common cathode. Please practice the diagram. Okay, fine. So this is what some idea about second type of sensor and actuator circuit, that's the 7 segment display after normal LED. So third one we have is optocoupler. Optocoupler. So here this is a block diagram of a optocoupler which isolates, means separates input and output. Here you can see isolate the circuit into two parts, input and output. Okay, see how the optocoupler will work. Let me explain. Optocoupler means it is a optical related. Optic means light. So you will give some voltage here. Okay, see, just assumption, will give voltage. So once this PN junction gets more than threshold voltage, the light electricity is converted into light energy. Okay, light energy. That light falls on opposite side of the optocoupler. Okay, so its potential keeps rising. So its potential keeps rising. That means what? Here as you increase the light, the brightness of a light increases here, and it will fall on the other side, that's a receiving side. And receiving side, let's assume there is one more LED here. So here is a VCC and here is a this one LED. So what I will do is I will go on increasing the VCC slowly. First no light falling on this, hence LED will be slower. As I increase the VCC in the input side, that's my left side, the brightness of this light increases, so that makes fall it on the receiving side here. So since it is collecting more light energy, so that energy is converted into electrical energy, hence the brightness of LED will also increases. Okay, so hope you understood how the optocoupler will work. Okay, so fine. Okay, where all we are using a optocoupler? We are using optocoupler in circuits of data communication, circuit for isolation, high voltage separation and simultaneous separations. Okay, these are all here in such, these are some examples where we are using optocoupler. And what is with what purpose we are using is to suppress the interference, that disturbance, whatever we are going to get, that to suppress we are using the optocoupler. Okay, so can optocoupler work as only input or only output? It can act as both input and output, because internally optocoupler has both nature, input as well as output side. Okay, so here you can see this one of the example. Okay, so how the optocoupler will work in the both input and output circuit. Okay, let's assume here is a VCC, what I told, here is a VCC and here is one LED, normal LED. Okay, so this is a constant VCC, let's assume this. Okay, which is giving same value for both the side. So now what happens? I will give VCC 0 in the input side, so no light will falls. If no light falls, no response here. Okay, that will gives us 0 voltage for this controller. So the same voltage is supplied here, hence minimum VCC is given. So this will also not makes any effect on this, and this LED whatever we have connected will not glow. Okay, this VCC is just to activate these two devices, but not the brightest light we can see on this LED, which we have assumed as connected as the output side. So here input I will keep on increasing. as I increase this input side voltage, the brightness of this light will be very high, means increases. That makes more value, more high, means more voltage on this receiving side. So this VCC plus extra voltage from this receiving side makes a high voltage at the controller. So same high voltage is forwarded here. Because of this high voltage and this VCC, again we will get a light here. So light energy will be generated. So that light again falls here. So that makes LED, which we assumed as connected here, increased brightness. So what happened here? This acts as a output here, and the same optocoupler is acting as input for the LED, normal LED. Okay, like this we can use optocoupler in any of the different applications. Okay, so this is what idea about optocoupler. Okay, next one, relay. Okay, so relay, I hope you have used this in your basic electrical lab. Okay, so it's an electromechanical device. First parameter is it's an electromechanical device. That means what? After supplying current, some movement will happen, mechanical movement. See, let me show the diagram first. See here, if I supply the current here through this coil, that creates a magnetic field. See, this is a switch, what we call as okay, armature. This is a armature, this is a coil, this is a mechanical switch. So what happens, once you supply the current over this creates a magnetic field that pulls this switch towards itself. You can see here it got closed. Okay, so here it is a single pole. Bipolar means what happens, if you start supplying this switch is, it is in the middle. Okay, assumption it is in the middle, it is free. Okay, so if you supply this, if you supply a power here, so it will create a magnetic field. Whoever was free movement here, that will get selected, pulled towards coil. So that is called as double throw. Double throw, you can see here, double throw. Single throw means only one side, open single throw, closed single throw. Okay, once you stop supplying, suddenly there will be one more coil in the other end that will pulls that switch to the other end. Okay, so now what is the importance of relay here? Okay, so it is to identify dynamic path for voltage or signal. So dynamic path means what here? See, assume we have connected plenty of equipments or components with each other in a circuit, and based upon the present situation of this magnetic field, whether current should flow this way or should it flow in this way, like that it will define. That is easily understandable in the double pole here, double throw. See, this coil, assume here one more coil. So I will supply at any one, not a both at a time. So if I supply here, what happens? This switch is closed. So whatever is the current comes here, it will enter through this switch and it will lead us to this direction. If I don't supply this wire, automatically switch is in the other end. So whatever is the current coming here, it will flow through this part of the circuit. Okay, hope you can assume a train crossing, exchanging the tracks. Train exchanging a track. What happens? Train will come. Which path it is closed, it will move into that track. If this is moved in, if this is moved in the other part, so the train enters, which will go through this left side or right side of, depends upon the wherever the switch is. Okay, right? So it is to decide where the power should move for the next step. Okay, and generally these are made up of insulated wire on a metal core. You can see here, these are made up of insulated wire. First metal, on that insulated wire will insulated wires will be there. Okay, how it works? What is the working principle? First, when voltage is applied to relay coil, that means here what I have shown, relay coil. Okay, that relay coil creates one magnetic field. Okay, I hope you all know that if we supply the current over the metal or any coil, it creates a magnetic field. That magnetic field attracts the armature, okay, towards the contact point. Means it was here, that will be moved, pulled towards the coil because of the field. So hence what we can see is it earlier it was here, that will connect to this left side arm. Okay, So the moment of contact point is a path. See this path. Earlier, if the current passes through, there was no continuous path here. But because you have supplied a voltage here, that created a magnetic path. So hence we got a full magnetic field that created one path for a current or a signal. It will transmit through this area. Okay, this is what a working principle of a relay. Okay, so two types of relay we have seen: single pole, okay, single throw. Two types, open and closed. Single pole, double throw. Pole means this coil. Okay, fine. Okay, so there is one more application diagram. Okay, so let's study this, how it works. So generally, can we have, you can see here, if we supply one input here, some input. Okay, so what happens? See this observation, freewheeling diode. It's a freewheeling diode. It can move in the any of the direction looking into this voltage. If the voltage what we have given through this is lesser than VCC, what happens? Lesser than VCC means, so it's a very simple, VCC will move through this coil and VCC will be high. If VCC is high, magnetic field created will be created here with a high strength. If magnetic field is created, this switch comes in that magnetic field. You can see this small rectangular box. Okay, the switch will get a closed circuit, and through this the voltage will pass. Whatever is transmitted from the load, it is exit. Okay, so if we supply high input more than VCC, what happens that time? Okay, see this, it will enter this way, reverse polarity of the freewheeling diode. Reverse polarity, what it will do? It will create reverse voltage in the magnetic field. That means this switch will not be closed. It remained in the open state. Hence load is not went or easily moved. It is maintained in the same state only. Okay, so that's what working or some application of the relay. Okay, so next comes one more sensor and actuator is piezo buzzer. So piezo buzzer means one who makes sound. I hope you know, if we write control A in our computer C programming environment, we will listen one buzzer sound or a beep sound. So the piezo buzzer are the devices to generate audio. So it's also kind of output as well as input device. See what happens is, as I mentioned, how to measure output, we have three things. One is bulb, glowing or not glowing. Second one is a fan, rotating or not rotating. Third one is a sound, whether we heard a beep sound or not heard a beep sound. If we heard the beep sound, we can assume output has, we have got a output. Otherwise, no output, like that. Okay, it's also, you can see the diagram here of a piezo buzzer. It's why it is called as piezo is they work in very less current. Very less current they take and they generate a sound output. Okay, and also how they generate is using a piezoelectric diaphragm. Okay, diaphragm. So which is used to after applying some voltage, automatically they will generate a voltage. If you open up this rectangular circular shape cap here, you can see some diaphragm. Hope you have seen sound box. In that there will be some small thin cotton. Behind that there will be some very thin layered metal object. So that will create us the diaphragm. Okay, so there are two type of piezo buzzer. One is a self-driving, another one is external driving. So what do you mean by self-driving is, once we give, okay, please observe this. Once we give minimum voltage, predefined tone will be generated. Predefined tone. That means what? Same type sound again and again. How to make a sound, that is predefined. Whereas in external driving, after applying the voltage, variable sound will listen. Sound means what? Say for example, simple beep, long beep. You can make a difference. Simple beep and long beep. If our piezo buzzer is able to do only simple beep for all the time, it is called as self-driving. If the piezo buzzer is able to generate small beep as well as long beep both, then it is called as external driving, because different pulses audio it is able to generate, hence it is called as external driving piezo buzzer. Okay, so we can use the piezo buzzer either as directly to the processor, or we can also connect indirectly to the processor as well as microcontroller. Okay, next, I hope you know the word switch button. Okay, please remember this. Hence, whatever we have studied so far are almost like both input and output side, but this is one sensor actuator circuit which is purely input, that is called as push button switch. I repeat, push button switch. If I show the diagram here, you will easily come to know how the push button switches are made up of. You can see here there will be one small button. User will apply the pressure here. Okay, so if he presses in the bottom, the jack will come out and it will make a circuit. It will work on the circuit. You can see this portion. Okay, technical circuit, how it is made up of, let me show here. See, this is a if you okay, this you can see this side is a energy where user need to press this. Okay, see this. Right now there is no contact from VCC pin and this ground. VCC pin and ground. When user presses a button, so this makes mechanical component to join this. So if it is joined, VCC will move to the ground. Same way, it is a high pulse. Okay. So what happens here? When person presses this, contact takes place and VCC passes through. So low pulse means after the resistor, high pulse means before the resistor connected. Okay, that is called as push button switch circuit, internal circuit. Okay, coming for the theoretical part, what do you mean by push button? Where you can see the push button is here. Okay, so I think if we go for 4:4 keypad, or even on our old mobile keypads, okay, so these push button switches will work. Okay, so how it is, as I said, it is a pure input device. Okay, there are two configurations, push to make or push to break. These are the two subsections of a push button. Push to make, if we push, something will take place. Something is already taking place, and if we push, that activity will broken. So that is called as push to break. Okay, so what is the concept of push to make? Normally they are open, that means no flow of current. No flow of current. When a person pushes, the current flow starts. Because of a push, the circuit become closed, hence from VCC to the ground. You can, again I will show here, this is a open. Okay, this is already open. Just assume this is very wide. When we press this side, okay, it is a normal open. When we press, circuit becomes closed from VCC to the ground. Okay, so it is called as push to make. This is called as push to make. So it is all from the normal time only it is closed. That means always VCC moving to the ground side. So if you push, it will release. Okay, that is called as push to break. Push to break. Okay, sorry, here this side. Push to break. Okay, so what do you mean by push to make is, normally they are open. After the push, the circuit becomes closed and electricity flow from VCC to the ground. Whereas push to break means normally only they are closed. If it is closed, you can see here, always VCC is moving, flowing towards the ground. Okay, all the time it is flowing through, moving towards the ground. Because of the push, circuit breaks. If circuit breaks, that means discontinuation. VCC will not reach the ground. So that means corresponding to that, whatever the program we have, like that the behavior will takes place. Okay, so what is the push states? The same states of push to make or state will be remained. That means what? normally this push to make will be in the open, push to break will be in a closed for a long duration. Only when operation takes place, only when user presses the applies the pressure or energy there, then some activity will take place. If there is no supply of energy, then definitely there won't be any of the activity will be taking place. Okay, so for some features of push button are, they will generate a signal for very moment of time, small moment of a time. They are going to generate a signal for momentary. As soon as we release the button, immediately signal generation will be stopped. Okay, so where we are using these reset and start. So we prefer to use them in a reset and start stages. Okay, so also we can connect directly or indirectly to the processors also. Okay, so sometimes it is called as a high and low. See, if you have visited some floor mills, okay, floor mills. So what happens is green color is to start the activity, red color is to stop the motor. Okay, green color is to start the motor. We will pour some grains and we will get a floor in the back, in the downside. So here what happens, like a industry. Okay, so separate buttons, push buttons for start and stop. Okay, so these are some examples for push and push button switches. Okay, so what all we have considered in the sensors and actuators is, first we have considered definition of sensors and actuators, sensor definition and actuator, followed by subsystem. So we can connect some sensors and actuators directly to the processor, but most of the sensors and actuators are connected indirectly with the processor. Whenever we have indirect connection, definitely we need help of I/O subsystem. Okay, we took help of LED and we studied the concepts of LEDs. Also we have finished 7-segment display. Okay, that's the second type of sensor and actuator. Third one is optocoupler. Okay, so fourth one is here relay, and fifth one is piezo buzzer. Sixth one is push buttons. Okay, so we have in examination we should be able to explain these 6 type of sensors and actuators together. Okay, so this is what for today's session. Thank you.